thousands of massive 9 profound golden thunders descended from the sky, accompanied by a roar that reverberated through the heavens and earth. The body of the 9 profound golden thunder took the form of a dragon, and its dragon eyes, flashing with thunderous light, immediately locked onto Shaolin, who, upon being targeted, felt a slight tingling sensation in his body. He could sense the terrifying power emanating from the 9 profound golden thunder, a power so formidable that even an 8-star Do Sheng would be deeply wary of it. The 9 profound golden thunder was, without a doubt, the most powerful thunderbolt known on the Doqi continent. Not only was its power overwhelmingly strong, but what made it even more terrifying was its high potential for growth. Given time, no one could guarantee that it wouldn't become strong enough to rival in 9-star Do Sheng. Everyone was left in shock. How had Mo managed to subdue such a terrifying creature? Little mystic, destroy him! Mo shouted from beneath the 9 profound golden thunder. Golden thunder flashed from his brow, and a lightning symbol seemed to resonate with the 9 profound golden thunder, allowing him to control this mighty force. However, for Shaolin, this was not good news. Even from a distance, both Yao Lao and Xiao Zhan felt a cold sweat for Shaolin. Elder Chen, if Shaolin is in danger, please act immediately to protect him, Xiao Zhan said, feeling uneasy. Shaolin was his grandson, and if anything happened to him, he would be heartbroken. He quickly turned to remind Elder Chen, who was standing nearby. Understood. Elder Chen nodded, already prepared to act at any moment. Rest assured, clan leader Xiao. I'm sure Mo knows his limits, Lei Litian reassured. I hope so, Xiao Zhan muttered, then turned his gaze back to the battlefield. Roar. With Mo's command, the 9 profound golden thunder let out a deafening roar. The sound triggered a strange disturbance in the heavens, and terrifying waves of energy spread through the thick clouds in the sky. In the next moment, everyone saw a golden thunderbolt, filled with earth-shattering power, descending from the clouds like a giant arrow. The scene was as if the heavens themselves were delivering a divine punishment. Its destructive force was so overwhelming that no expert below the level of 8-star Do Sheng dared to confront it head-on. The target of the 9 profound golden thunder's wrath was none other than Shaolin. Despite the incoming thunderbolt, Shaolin's expression turned solemn, yet he did not attempt to evade. The only thing that drew Mo's attention was the faint glow now appearing between Shaolin's brows. Buzz. As the glow appeared, Shaolin's Do Di bloodline seemed to be violently stirred, causing it to surge and boil. A scorching wave of energy spread from Shaolin's body, melting the surrounding space with its terrifying heat. Shaolin raised his hand. Whoosh! A multicolored flame rose from his palm, and those observing from afar, including Yao Lao, had their pupils contract in shock. This flame was none other than the Imperial Flame, the same flame used by Xiao Yin after he became an emperor. Did the Flame Emperor really leave the Doqi continent without taking the Imperial Flame? The Pill Tower ancestor exclaimed in disbelief. If this was truly the Imperial Flame, then no one below Do Di could possibly withstand it. However, the Pill Tower ancestor soon noticed something strange. The Imperial Flame in Shaolin's hand was much smaller than its usual form, only about the size of a palm. Its power also seemed far weaker than the full force of the Imperial Flame. That flame in Shaolin's hand should only be a spark of the Imperial Flame, Yao Lao said. I thought it was truly the Imperial Flame, Lei Litian said, visibly relieved. If Shaolin held the full Imperial Flame, even Mo with 10-9 profound golden thunders wouldn't stand a chance. Still, even as just a spark, the flame should not be underestimated, as it contained the power of 22 different heavenly flames. Now the question remained, which was stronger, the 9 profound golden thunder or the spark of the Imperial Flame? Everyone's hearts were filled with this question, and it was about to be answered. Go! As the destructive force of the 9 profound golden thunder descended from above, Shaolin flicked his finger. The spark of the Imperial Flame transformed into a streak of fire, piercing through the void and appearing right in front of the golden thunder. The two forces of destruction collided in a mighty explosion. Boom! The collision between the 9 profound golden thunder and the Imperial Flame spark was spectacular. The thunder and flame unleashed such a force that the surrounding mountains, within a radius of 10,000 zhong, were melted away, leaving the space utterly devastated. However, because the previous battle lacked much suspense, most people gathered here to watch the fight between Layamo and Shaolin. Boom! 1,000 miles away, in a valley, a massive earth fissure stretching for thousands of miles was torn open by a terrifying force. Beneath this earth crack, a three-colored fire blazed like flowing lava, sweeping across the surrounding area for 1,000 miles, turning everything into an inky black. Within the blackness, the fire glowed a fiery red, with such terrifying heat that any warrior below the Do Saint level would not dare approach. At this moment, on this crimson and black earth, a colossal purple-gold dragon, over 10,000 feet long, coiled. On the dragon's back stood a fiery-eyed woman, her figure enchanting. The dragon and the woman faced off against another woman dressed in light-colored robes, standing at the opposite end. This woman had a swan-like snow-white neck, delicate collarbones, slender and sensual, and a pair of full breasts. Below, a curvaceous waist formed a water snake shape, and she stood barefoot in midair, exuding a natural allure simply by standing still. This woman was none other than Xiao Sha, the renowned daughter of the Flame Emperor from the Do Chi continent. The purple-gold dragon opposite her was the transformed form of Zhu Yan, the princess of the primordial ancient dragon clan. Zhu Yan's power surpassed that of Layamo, reaching the late 7-star Do Saint stage. The fiery-eyed woman beside her, Yanran, the princess of the Yin clan, was at the same level as Layamo, a 7-star Do Saint. Together, the two of them were strong enough to fight against an 8-star Do Saint. In their earlier exchange, despite using every skill they had, neither Zhu Yan nor Yanran could land a single hit on Xiao Sha. What was even more terrifying was that Xiao Sha hadn't even used a single move throughout the entire fight. In other words, Xiao Sha was effortlessly overpowering them. They speculated that Xiao Zhao's strength had likely reached the 9-star Do Saint stage. They both knew well what that meant. The 9-star Do Saint was the strongest level in the Do Chi continent, surpassed only by a Do Di powerhouse. Are you two done? Xiao Yin, standing in midair, glanced indifferently at Yanran and Zhu Yan. She then yawned. In truth, she had been feeling like she needed more sleep as her strength increased. Xiao Sha knew this was caused by the bloodline of the sky-devouring python within her. If this continued, she might end up hibernating like a snake. But before that, she had something to do. Find her father, the Flame Emperor, in the world beyond the Do Chi continent. Yanran and Zhu Yan looked at Xiao Sha. Zhu Yan, still in dragon form, slowly transformed back into a human. She was a young woman dressed in a purple-gold robe, holding a dragon slayer sword. Her appearance bore a striking resemblance to Zi Yin, indicating a close relation between the two. Zhu Yan's expression darkened as she wielded the dragon slayer sword. Beneath the 8-star Do Saint level, she was nearly invincible, but even so, she could not harm Xiao Sha. It was clear to her that the gap between them was vast. Could it be that today, even with their combined strength, they would still fail? Thump. At that moment, a massive heartbeat echoed in Zhu Yan's chest. Her expression shifted slightly as she felt a sudden surge of power from the bloodline of the primordial ancient dragon within her. Her heartbeat inexplicably quickened. Boom! Just as Zhu Yan's heart raced, a thunderous roar, as if shaking the heavens and the earth, suddenly rang out from the distant horizon. Immediately, everyone on the Do Chi continent felt an overwhelming, supreme aura sweeping toward them at an unimaginable speed. It was as if some divine being was about to be born. In that instant, the world seemed to change. What's happening? The sudden shift in the world's aura caused Elder Yao and the other clan elders in the valley to tremble slightly. They immediately turned their attention to the edge of the Do Chi continent, where this supreme aura had originated. That place was the territory of the primordial ancient dragon clan. Swish! As Elder Yao and the clan elders looked toward the distant sky, a massive purple-gold light swept toward them, like a tidal wave splitting the heavens. The purple-gold tide carried an unparalleled dragon's might, and within a few moments, it enveloped most of the sky over the Do Chi continent. Seeing this purple-gold tide, the elders of the Yin and Thunder clans were terrified, while Elder Zhu Li's heart swelled with joy. On the other side, the towering, multicolored imperial flame and golden thunderclaps intertwined endlessly. The space here was in ruins. With a deafening explosion, both the golden thunder and the imperial flame were completely obliterated into nothingness. In this clash, the imperial flame did not gain a significant advantage, and the 9 profound golden thunder was evenly matched. What's going on? Xiao Lin stared in disbelief at the sky far ahead, obscured by a purple-golden radiance. Such a celestial phenomenon would be hard to cause even by a 9-star dosheng, wouldn't it? Has someone broken through to the Dodi realm? At the same time, hundreds of miles away, Xiao Zhao's sharp gaze was locked on Zhu Yan, standing opposite her. Even Zhu Yan's companion, Yanran, was deeply shocked by the sudden turn of events. At this moment, an overwhelming force, like a tidal wave, erupted from within Zhu Yan. It was an unfathomably powerful force. As this powerful energy surged, Zhu Yan's aura began to skyrocket. In just the span of a single breath, her power broke through to the level of 8-star dosheng. But that wasn't all. The surge of power showed no signs of slowing down. After about a dozen breaths, her strength had far exceeded the 8-star dosheng threshold due to the stimulation of her bloodline. At that moment, she reached the early 9-star dosheng stage, just a step away from reaching the mid-9-star dosheng stage. Boom! The purple-golden radiance, which covered half of the Do-Chi continent, could still be clearly seen from the other side of the continent. Several elders, looking up at the light, couldn't help but reminisce about a similar sight from decades ago. Back then, when the Soul Clan's Do-Di and the Xiao Clan's Do-Di appeared, the celestial changes were almost identical to what they were witnessing now. A change in the world, divine light sweeping across, a Do-Di descending to protect a land. It seemed that a new Do-Di had been born, and the pressure from this aura made some Do-Sheng experts guess who had broken through to the Do-Di realm. However, at this moment, in the western central plains of the Do-Chi continent, in the flower sect's territory, amidst a vast flower forest, a woman completely disregarded the celestial phenomenon. The man standing before her was the only thing in her eyes. The woman was Yun, the current sect leader of the flower sect. The man before her was none other than the long-lost flame emperor, Xiao Yin. You are back? Yun stared at Xiao Yin, astonished, as his sudden return was beyond her expectations. I remember I asked you to meet me at the magical Beast Mountain range, but you didn't come? Xiao Yin looked at Yun and smiled faintly. You don't think that just because I stand above all, I would forget old friends, do you? No, Yun replied, knowing that Xiao Yin was not the type of person to act that way. Then, she hesitated for a moment, biting her red lips before asking, by the way, there's something you probably don't know, right? I know. You're getting married. As soon as Yun's words fell, Xiao Yin immediately replied. Now that he controlled the dimension embryo of the Do-Chi continent, he could learn everything happening in this world, including every movement of those he cared about. Yun wasn't surprised that Xiao Yin knew about her upcoming marriage. Instead, she smiled at him. Aren't you going to give me something as a gift? I do have a gift in mind, but I'll only be giving it to you in a week. What do you think? Will you wait? Xiao Yin asked. I'll wait. Yun answered straightforwardly. She and Xiao Yin were old friends, and she knew his gift would be something beyond her expectations. Master! At that moment, a loud cry echoed from outside the flower forest. With a sound of air splitting, a familiar figure appeared in Yun's view. It was Nalan Yanran. Master, look at the celestial phenomenon. Someone must have broken through to? Nalan Yanran flew into the forest and immediately spoke. But when her eyes landed on the figure of Xiao Yin in front of her, she was stunned and fell silent. The flower forest fell into a quiet stillness, and Nalan Yanran's expression was one of shock. After a few moments, she came to her senses and was about to say something to Xiao Yin, but before she could speak, Xiao Yin's figure vanished before her eyes, as if everything had been a mere illusion. Master, was that really Xiao Yin? Nalan Yanran asked in disbelief. Yes, he's back. Yun replied, looking up at the sky and taking a deep breath. I have a feeling something big is about to happen in the Doqi continent. Master, could it be that someone from the primordial ancient dragon clan broke through to Dodi? Nalan Yanran asked. I don't know. Yun shook her head. Meanwhile, in the Xiao clan's territory in the eastern central plains, in a vast valley, a wild, expanding aura swept through with an almost mocking intensity. At this moment, Zhu Yan's strength had surged to the bottleneck of the early 9-star Do Sheng stage, a power so overwhelming it could even stir the tides of heaven and earth. She has successfully broken into the Dodi stage. Zhu Yan murmured to herself, sensing the terrifying force within her body. She then looked ahead at Xiao Sha and raised her Dragon Slayer sword. Her sharp gaze conveyed a single message. The true battle begins now. Zhu Yan, with this kind of power, has someone from the primordial ancient dragon clan advanced to the Dodi stage? Yan Lian asked, staring at Zhu Yan. Yes, Ziyan succeeded. Zhu Yan nodded. In that moment, her aura intensified to its peak, and she felt that she now had the strength to face Xiao Sha. Lian, from here on, let me handle Xiao Sha alone. Congratulations. Looks like the Doqi continent is about to have another Dodi. On the opposite side, Xiao Sha, watching Zhu Yan's power skyrocket, couldn't help but smile. I must ask, are you sure you don't want to find somewhere to stabilize your power? Such force could easily tear your body apart if you're not careful. Xiao Zhao's warning came from her own experience. When Xiao Yin broke through to the Dodi stage, his power surged from Do Zong to 8-star Do Sheng, an incredible leap. However, this sudden surge of strength had caused Xiao Sha trouble for many years, as the power was simply beyond her control. It had taken Xiao Sha nearly a decade to refine and control that power. Just as she had finally stabilized her 8-star Do Sheng strength, Kai Lin broke through to the Dodi stage, causing Xiao Zhao's power to leap to mid-9-star Do Sheng. After that, she spent the next 4 to 5 years simply trying to stabilize her power, leaving her with barely over 10 years of actual cultivation time. No, if I stabilize this power now, I'll never get another chance to defeat you. To Xiao Zhao's surprise, Zhu Yan had no intention of finding a place to stabilize her power. She let the wild force inside her rampage. In truth, due to her Dragon Clan heritage, with her current strength, she didn't need to worry about her body being torn apart by this force. Zhu Yan didn't want to refine this power because she knew that Xiao Sha had probably already reached the peak of 9-star Do Sheng, just a step away from the Dodi stage. Zhu Yan understood that, even with the bloodline power activated by Ziyan's breakthrough to the Dodi stage and the might of the Dragon Slayer sword, she could only fight Xiao Sha on par at mid-9-star Do Sheng. She still wouldn't be able to defeat Xiao Sha. But now, the situation was different. The force within her was so violent that it pushed her into a desperate state. In this state, if she gave her all, she could unleash the power of late 9-star Do Sheng. However, there was a steep price for such a move. The price was losing this surge of power. Once the energy was expended, even if her strength recovered, it would only return to the peak of 7-star Do Sheng. In other words, the power gained from Ziyan's breakthrough to Dodi would vanish. It was a one-time boost. Xiao Sha, seeing that Zhu Yan was willing to risk everything to defeat her, was momentarily stunned. Sigh. Xiao Sha let out a helpless sigh. No matter what, Zhu Yan wasn't her enemy, and she couldn't bear to see her discard her hard-earned power just to defeat herself. If that was the case, then there was only one way to stop Zhu Yan. Meanwhile, on the other side, the thunder roared and the land was barren for miles. A fierce battle raged between Liamo and Shaolin. The battle between Emperor Flame and 9 Profound Golden Thunder was evenly matched, and both sides fought with all their might. However, Liamo felt that Shaolin was hiding something. He had to force out whatever Shaolin was concealing. It seems your sister's situation isn't looking good, Liamo remarked, then sent a brilliant bolt of lightning toward Shaolin. You didn't expect this, did you? The leader of the primordial ancient dragon clan just advanced to the Dodi stage. Heh, I really didn't see that coming, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. There have been a lot of rumors about the battle of the twin emperors on the Doqi continent, so having a Dodi will help dispel some of them. Xiao Lin understood that Lei Mo was only trying to use the new Do Di of the primordial ancient dragon clan to destabilize her, but she wasn't about to fall for it. You Xiao clan really has no respect for anyone, Lei Mo said, his eyes narrowing slightly after hearing Xiao Lin's words. Did Xiao Lin truly believe that Xiao Zhao could still crush Zhu Yan? At this moment, Zhu Yan was invincible beneath the late-stage 9-star Do Sheng. Meanwhile, on Xiao Zhao's side, Xiao Zhao, how about we settle this with one move? Zhu Yan pointed the Dragon Slayer sword straight at Xiao Zhao, her voice sharp. The sword emitted a fierce, sharp aura that caused the very space around it to tear apart. Crash. Vast as the sea, the power of Do Qi combined with the supreme force of heaven and earth formed a tidal wave behind Zhu Yan, stretching thousands of miles. The immense power contained within it made Yin Lianlian's heart tremble. She knew that if this power were directed at her, her death would be inevitable. However, to Zhu Yan's surprise, Xiao Zhao did not show any sign of retreat. Instead, she crossed her arms in front of her chest, and a calm voice rang out. Give up. You are not my match. Xiao Zhao, even if you've reached the peak of 9-star Do Sheng, you shouldn't look down on me this much, should you? Zhu Yan's expression darkened slightly. At the same time, her Dragon Slayer sword subtly shifted. In that moment, all the energy between heaven and earth converged before her, forming a gigantic energy sword. The massive sword looked like golden liquid, but the terrifying power within it caused Xiao Qian, far away, to feel a chill run down his spine. Zhu Yan was truly intent on killing Xiao Zhao. What no one knew was that not far from the battlefield, a figure in a black robe stood on top of a shattered mountain. The man's tall, handsome figure seemed intrigued by the battle before him, his gaze shifting toward Xiao Zhao. His usual arrogance faded, replaced by a fatherly concern. This little girl has indeed made some progress, the man, Xiao Yin, murmured as he looked at Xiao Zhao in the distance. If I had come back any later, she would probably have gone to the Great Thousand Worlds to find me. Xiao Yin knew that Xiao Zhao now had the ability to venture to the Great Thousand Worlds to find him. With this thought, his gaze turned toward the direction of his teacher, Yao Lao, and the others. Over 1,000 miles away, Yao Lao and the others were still waiting. Xiao Yin slowly faded from sight. Clang. In the sky, the massive liquid energy sword descended, its target locked on Xiao Zhao. This devastating strike was one that even a late 9-star Do Sheng would have to take seriously. However, Xiao Zhao's response completely surprised Zhu Yan. She merely lifted one hand and gently pointed into the air. In that instant, it felt as if the entire world froze. The giant sword was frozen in midair, and so were Zhu Yan and Yin Lianlian's expressions. Crack. Without warning, huge cracks began to spread from the top of the sword's blade. Then, with a loud bang, the massive golden liquid sword shattered into countless pieces, scattering like snowflakes across the sky. The golden fragments rained down, dazzling like golden snowflakes, but neither Zhu Yan nor the others had the time to admire them. They could sense a powerful, unimaginable aura spreading from behind the golden snowflakes. In the sky, half of the space was filled with purple golden light, while the other half was empty. But now, the empty space began to be overtaken by a 9-colored radiance. The pressure emanating from this 9-colored light was as overwhelming as the might of the primordial ancient dragon clan's Do Di. It was the power of a Do Di, and the source of this overwhelming pressure stunned Zhu Yan and the others. It wasn't from one of the clan leaders of the Yin or Lei clans, who were currently in seclusion. No, it came from a woman standing right before them, a woman who appeared to be no older than 30. This woman was Xiao Zhao. Only now did Zhu Yan understand why Xiao Zhao said that even reaching 9-star Do Sheng would not make her a match. It was because Xiao Zhao had already entered the Do Di realm. Meanwhile, over 1,000 miles away, Yao Lao and the others stood up in excitement, but their gazes were not on Xiao Zhao, but on a black-robed man standing nearby. The most excited were Yao Lao and Xiao Zhan, while the Grand Elder of the Yin and Thunder clans looked on in shock. They recognized this man. The black-robed man cupped his hands toward Yao Lao, and his calm words, which brought tears to Yao Lao and Xiao Zhan's eyes, slowly carried through the air.